Hey, thanks for joining me. It's time for another one of the videos. Today the topic is going to be drill bits and various other drilling implements. And the information I'm going to present here is based off my own personal knowledge from my field time. Uh, Feel free to disagree if you want to. I'm just going to kind of go over the types of bits that you'll commonly run across in the plumbing trade, what their applications are, and what my thoughts on them are. So, the counter's kind of a mess, but you see I got a whole bunch of stuff piled up here, so we're going to start way over here. These are twist drills, or twist bits. You can drill wood with this style of bit, but that's not what they're made for. These are meant for metal. These in particular, these are the shockwave impact duty meant for metal. You see it's got the 1/4 inch quick connect, so you can use these in an impact driver instead of just necessarily a drill. These are these split point? I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is sort of a split point. And split point, all that does when you start your hole, the split point would tend to walk a little bit more, so you may have to use a center punch to get started. But it's a more efficient design than having a straight point on the end of the drill bit. I think this is closer to maybe like a hybrid between the two. I actually have experience with this specific type of bit, the gold colored ones. They're pretty decent. They are impact rated, but if you get them in a bind with an impact gun, you will break them. They will snap. So they're real convenient though. They're fast. For the money, these are kind of pricey, but for the money, they seem to hold up pretty good. Milwaukee also makes a they're black oxide, I believe they are. It's a set similar to this, but it's a little bit less money and it comes with a bunch more sizes. Those are more for softer metals. This right here, you can drill tougher metals with this, and like I said, with that 1/4 inch connector there, that's nice and convenient. So on to the next. These guys right here, these are they call them a flat boring set. This is just a spade bit. This kit here happens to come with an extension. I believe these are also 1/4 inch drive. However, these are kind of like these over here, but these are not impact rated. You will break them if you put them in an impact gun. It's more so, I think it's more the gimmick there, so you can put them in this quick connector here and use them in your regular drill. If you've got to make a pretty hole and you're not worried, and there's nothing there for you to hit as far as nails or other fasteners, these are good. If there's even the slightest chance you're going to hit something harder than wood, these are bad. These will break. But again, on the front side of the hole, they make a real nice, perfect opening. On the back side, they tend to blow out the wood, especially if it's like a particle board or something like that. So if the hole needs to be pretty on both sides, you need to put some kind of backer up against it. That way, when it won't blow out as you punch through. I don't know. These aren't really good for plumbers most of the time, unless for some reason the hole has to be very pretty. That's what you would use this for. Okay, so these are speed bore styles. They're self-feeding, which means it's got a screw tip on the end of it. These are a two edge cutter. They got, you kind of, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a cutting edge on there and there's a cutting edge on the opposite side of it. These are fast and they make pretty holes, kind of like a spade bit does. The only problem with these, again, they say that they're okay for hitting nails, and you're going to tear these up if you hit nails. You don't want to hit nails with these. They're kind of expensive too, but they're fast and they make clean holes. Again, for a plumber, it depends on what he's drilling. Some guys will like these, some guys won't. Me personally, I don't really care for them. They do the job. It's just when you're roughing in, especially, you're just so likely to hit stuff you can't see. These are I don't know. But if you know what you're drilling into and you want a pretty hole, these are great, and they're fast. They're very fast. My favorite, oldie but goldie, a classic ship auger bit, self feed, 7/16 drive, I think. Yeah, 7/16. So your super hog or your whole hog with a quick connect will snap right on that. one cutting edge. You only got the one cutting edge, which means it's easier to sharpen. Nail duty. These things will eat nails. No problem. You can hit nails with this thing all day long, and you might have to touch the edge up and sharpen it. But again, there's only one edge you got to sharpen. This edge right here, up against there. Never sharpen the top. Don't do that. If you change that geometry there, it won't cut. If you always run your file this way, along that edge all the way down. Fantastic. I own the full set of these. In the Milwaukee, actually the Milwaukee branded ones, all the 6-inch ones they make. I think I have the, let's see, what sizes do I have in my bin? I think I have a 3/4, a 1-inch, and an 1.25 inch that are 6-inch long, and I have the equivalent in the longer version for the 3/4 and 1, which I want to say those are 16-inch long bits. Super handy. I've had them for years. I've resharpened them for years. I've hit thousands of nails with them. Never had any problems. This is a really good bit. This is one of the best bits Milwaukee makes by a long shot. Assuming the quality's held up. Granted, the ones I have are kind of old. I don't know if the current ones are that good, but I would assume they are. Money well spent. Self-feed, also an oldie but goldie. Some people will call these Forstner bits. These are not Forstner bits. You can't do the same things. A Forstner bit is similar in how they're designed. The main difference is a Forstner bit is used for fine woodworking. You're usually going to be using them in like a what do you call it, like a drill press, something that is very stable and will not move on you because it doesn't have any way to center itself. This Forstner bit won't have the self-feed function. So I mean, you can use a Forstner bit in a right angle drill, but it's not a good idea. It's not. You don't want to do that. This is made for right angle drills or high torque drills. This particular example is a 3 5/8. They make them in a whole bunch of different sizes. I believe these ones here that Milwaukee make, I want to say these are two blade. I want to say the not 2 9/16 and smaller is only a single blade. And yeah. The only problem with these, though, if you hit a nail, you're done for today. You got to sharpen them if you didn't destroy the bit, and they're very expensive. So, you know, if you want a pretty hole, they're good. But again, that cutting edge is very susceptible to getting destroyed by nails. Even ones that claim to be nail rated, it's a lot of, you're spending a lot of money for a bit to take that chance. Now, Milwaukee does make something like this that's called the Switchblade. I don't actually have one here to show you, but essentially it works kind of like a box cutter, where instead of having this cutting edge being molded into the bit, it's actually a replaceable blade. So if you hit a nail with it, you just take, there's a set, I actually have the set at home. I should have brought it with me so I could show you, but there's a set screw inside the self-feeding bit here. You just take that set screw off, pull that out, and it releases tension off the blade. You pop the blade off, put a new one on, put the set screw back in, you're ready to roll. You don't have to sharpen it. It's easy. I've had that set for a while, and I want to say the set I have goes all the way up to 2 9/16. I don't know if they make one for 3 5/8 or bigger yet, but money well spent. At some point I had one on the wall here, but I believe I sold it, and it was the only set I had. I've actually got a couple replacement blades on the wall too, but like I said, essentially it's like a box cutter. Kind of how that works. It's actually a genius idea, and it makes you a little less hesitant to use one of these things in a rough end. One thing these are good for is even if they are worn out, if you're in a situation where you've got to like chew up some wood, like say you're on a, like say you're say you're trying to rough into like a lavatory on an outside wall, and you know, you got your bottom plate here, and then you got your exterior wall right here, and it's a 2x4, and you're trying to drill down into it, and you hit like a sill right here, but you got to take just a little bit of that sill out in order to get your eighth bend down to make you turn to get underneath the house. This kind of bit's good for that, because as long as you brace yourself and you hold it just right, you can kind of chew that spot up enough to you know, get your fitting down in that bend. They're good for that. They're really good for that. So oldie but goldie, you know, and a lot of guys still use these. This is the good one. The kit I have at home is the original version that didn't have the carbide teeth. I've actually upgraded my 2 9/16 to a carbide version, but I'm still using the standard ones for all the rest of the sizes. I want to say I actually have the 10-piece kit because it comes with let's see, 2 1/8, 2 1/4. I'm trying to remember the sizes: 2 9/16, 3-inch, 3 5/8, and I think 4 1/4. And the reason why I went with the 10-piece kit instead of this 8-piece, you can see the sizes for the 8-piece here. That's just your size for your 1.5-inch pipe, your 2-inch pipe, your 3-inch pipe, and your 4-inch pipe. But honestly, as rarely as you're going to be trying to feed 4-inch pipe through a clean hole, a jigsaw, for the one time a year you may need that. The 4 1/4 inch is actually pretty handy though, because toilet flange will fit it's like a 4x3 flange is just the right size to where when you cut it with a 4 1/4, whoop, it'll sit right in, and you'll have maybe a little less than 1/18 of an inch on each side all the way around. So it's pretty much a perfect size hole for that. It's also good for shower drains. Like the PVC glue in drains we keep. Perfect size for that. These are awesome because the way these teeth are designed, the saw curve that you cut out with these things is actually wider than the body of the rest of the hole saw, so the plugs fall right out. A lot of times they fall out, you just tap them when they fall out. It's way easier than a traditional hole saw, and these things are fast. And as long as you don't hit anything too hard, like you're hitting nails with them, no problem. I mean, if you hit something like a structural bolt, you might have a problem, but these eat nails all day long. One thing I have found with the carbide version versus the older style they used to sell, the carbide ones are harder to sharpen, but that comes with the territory. You're using a harder metal. This kit does come with a sharpening stone meant for carbide, and if guy ever needs to sharpen these, he needs to make sure he uses that correct sharpening edge, because a standard file won't sharpen carbide. It's too hard. It's way too hard. As far as failure points on these, about the only thing you'll ever see fail on these things is the teeth themselves. Sometimes if you apply too much torque to them, or if you hit something that they're not meant to cut, the weld will fail and these teeth will actually break off, or the teeth will snap and you just have like part of a tooth left. I've seen that, but that's pretty rare. These are actually really well made, and they seem to hold up very well. And they're really not all that expensive for what you get. You can get a lot of use out of one of these. Good set. Both the sets, the 10-piece and the 8-piece. I mean, I personally prefer the 10-piece. I think it's a more versatile set, but either one will serve you well. And this set here, these are bimetal. This happens to be the Master Plumber's set. You can see all the different sizes here. It's basically every size you should ever need. What are these good for? You can cut basically anything with these. You can cut wood with them. They're not. Let me lean back so I'm comfortable. Well, you can cut wood with them. They're not really ideal for cutting wood. The trick with these, when you are going to use them to drill for wood, what I used to like to do, I'd keep my smaller hand power drill with a bit, like a twist drill or some other bit already chucked into it. I would go ahead and hit it with my pilot bit and go ahead and mark my outline. Just go ahead and score to what I'm trying to cut with one of these. Just so I'd know where my outer edge of my hole saw is going to be, and then you take your hand drill just real quick and drill a hole straight through on the outside edge to give yourself a relief point. Because what will happen with these, if you don't give your sawdust somewhere to go, they get hot, and once they get hot, they burn up, and it causes that. And getting these too hot changes the chemistry of the metal and the bimetal, and it weakens them. So it's a good idea to do that. But these are also good for cutting plastic. They're good for cutting fiberglass. The trick with fiberglass, so you don't tear up the gel coating. I used to always take the hole saw completely off the pilot. Go ahead and drill the pilot hole real carefully. Just make sure I don't actually punch through and hit the tub. You don't want to damage it. Pull back out, put the hole saw on, and run it and line it back up, and real easy, run it in reverse for a couple seconds, just to drag it over and kind of break the tension on that edge, and then run it on low speed going forward. Again, because you don't want to build up any heat. You don't want to run these things real hard. But running the hole saw in reverse, that kind of breaks. That takes the gel coating off in a real controlled way right there where you're trying to cut it. That way you don't chip it. Because even though your escutcheon is going to is going to cover that hole, you don't want to chip that gel coating any more than you have to, because over time it can actually crack, especially if the tub settles or moves any, and that tiny little crack can actually spread out past the escutcheon. I've seen it happen before, even on a fairly new construction. You can cut metal with these as well. You don't want to cut super hard metal. Like I wouldn't use a bimetal kit for, like, say, stainless steel or anything like that. But like sheet metal, galvanized steel, like galvanized steel sheeting, roofing, that kind of stuff, you can cut these with that. Not a bad idea to use cutting oil. Just, again, you want to keep them cool. You don't want these to overheat, especially if you buy this kit, because this kit's kind of expensive. But again, it's a complete kit. It's most everything you would ever need. This is the 18 piece, but they make an even bigger kit. It's one I actually have. I think it's called the Master Kit. It comes with, like, God, I think it has like 35 hole saws in it or something crazy like that. But it's got every size from 3/4 all the way up to, I think, 5-inch and a 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch, and then up to 1/4 inch increments all the way through. It's pretty handy to have all those sizes. Sometimes, there's really only maybe a handful of sizes you're going to use regularly, but having those other smaller increments, sometimes that can save you. But yeah, I feel like that fairly well covers it. Just to kind of highlight, useful, the bee's knees, situationally useful, the best thing that's ever happened to me. Situationally useful. So I think that kind of sums up how I feel about all these different bits. But yeah, so if you have any more questions or have any comments to make, by all means reach out and let me know. I'll be more than happy to share my knowledge with you.